Hi guys, here is a summary of Chapter 2. I'm not sure what happened to my other video, so let's try this again. Chapter 2 is talking about strategic planning, which is not the most exciting aspect of marketing, but it's important, and we'll see why we do this, but we need to set our course at the beginning here to make sure we stay on target through our marketing efforts to make the most efficient use of our resources. So the first step in the first part of this chapter is the steps in the strategic planning process, which are very similar to if you've had other management classes. You've probably seen something similar to this before, and it's the same. We start with defining a market-oriented mission statement. A mission statement is the guiding principle of the company, and there's a lot of, almost everybody has a mission statement. That doesn't mean they're all good. So it needs to be meaningful, it needs to be specific, it needs to be something that can be achieved. It needs to state the overall philosophy of the company, and a good mission statement should be not focused necessarily on the company but on the customer. So it shouldn't say we want to be the biggest whatever, or we want to increase our profits by whatever. It shouldn't be stated in terms of what we want to do for the company. It should be stated in terms of what we can achieve for the customer, what value we're offering to the customer. And it should again be focused on the market that we're serving. And there's a table on page 40 in your textbook that kind of shows examples of good mission statements, and also that page 3940 talks about what makes a good mission statement and what makes an ineffective one. So keep focused on the customer and the market we're serving for that. Then we set the company objectives and goals. All right, so these are what do we need to be able to do to fulfill this mission that we set there. So let's say we want to be, the best solution in something. Well, in order to do that, we need to do research and development. In order to do research and development, we need profits to fund that. So what steps do we need to take to be able to achieve the mission that we set out in the first place there? The third one then is to design the business portfolio that's going to help us achieve those objectives and goals. And the next slide will talk about the portfolio in a little bit more detail. Then the last step there is to plan the marketing and other functional strategies. So the first three that we talked about here are all the company in general. Now we're getting into the specific functional areas within the company. So once we know what the company wants to achieve, then we set the marketing strategies to help achieve that, and the production strategies to help achieve that, and the human resource strategies to help achieve that. But the important thing to remember is that all of these functional strategies are there to help achieve the company's goals. So marketing doesn't exist just to serve marketing. It's there to support the company goals and the company mission. And that's something that we have to keep in mind as we go along. So let's talk about designing this business portfolio. A business portfolio is a collection of businesses or products that make up the company. In order to analyze this, in order to allocate our resources in the most efficient way, in the way that's going to help us achieve our goals, we divide the company up into what we call SBUs, strategic business units. These can be, we can divide it up by division, so marketing, production, HR, financial, that kind of thing. We can do it by the various product lines that we sell. We can even do it by a specific product. So as an example, Walt Disney has a bunch of different product lines. They have the theme parks and resorts. They have the entertainment part where they have the TV and the radio and the Disney Channel and the Disney Radio Disney. Then they have the movie company that makes the theatrical releases. And then within there, they have Walt Disney Pictures. They have Pixar. They have Touchstone. Then another division or product line would be the consumer products, where they have the video games and the clothes and the toys. And then then they go into other broadcasting companies. They own ESPN and ABC, and so they would look at each one of those as a strategic business unit. And then with each one of those, they'll break it down into the various products. So that's how we analyze the business portfolio. A really well-known way to analyze the business portfolio is the Boston Consulting Group's, I think that should be BCG, Growth Share Matrix. And they take all the different, you can do it by product line, whatever, and you break it into this little chart here according to its growth potential and our share of the market right now. Now, a star in the upper left there is a product or a product line where we already have a pretty good market share. We have a good share of the market, and there's still high growth potential there. A question mark is something where we don't have high market share right now, but there is high growth potential, so we might want to look at those products. The cash cow is not growing fast, but it's still, we have a good share of the market. It's generating a lot of revenue for us, and those are probably going to be your mature products. That's why they're not having high growth, because they're already pretty mature. You use the money that you're getting from the cash cows to fund your growth in the stars and maybe the question marks or some of the question marks. The dogs are ones where we don't have a lot of market share, but there's also a low growth in that product or that market right now, so we don't want to send our resources there. So then we could take all of the products lines that we have, or the products, or however, our SBUs, and plot them on this chart according to where they fall, and so who's generating the most cash, and that's how we decide how to allocate our resources. One of the problems with this is this just looks at the products we currently have, and it doesn't necessarily look at products that we don't even have yet that we need to be thinking about. So there are some limitations, but it's a nice way to see our entire business portfolio on one chart and where everything falls in it. And again, it helps us kind of allocate where we're going to devote our resources. So that we've got our business mix, our portfolio set. We know where we want to put our things. Now it's time to get to the specific strategies for the functional areas, and since this is marketing, we're going to focus on the marketing strategies. So let's say I want to grow. There are 4 different strategies for expanding a market or a product or sales within a market. The first one would be market penetration, and what I'm doing is just trying to sell more of the same product I have right now. I'm going to keep the same basic group of people I'm trying to target and the same basic product, but I'm going to adjust elements of my marketing strategy. So maybe I'm going to advertise it in a different way, or make it available in a different way. I'm going to sell it online instead of just in the stores, or the other way around. Or I might change the price. I might put it on sale. That would be a market penetration strategy. I might change the product a little bit, maybe different colors, different flavors, but for the most part, I'm not going to change the basic product itself. So let's go back to our Disney. Market penetration might just be, let's say it's at the theme parks and they're offering a discount. If you book within this time, you get a free meal plan. So that would be kind of market penetration. I haven't changed the product. I haven't changed the basic people I'm trying to reach. I just put it on sale and tried to get some more increased sales that way. Another strategy would be market development. And so I'm taking my existing product, but I'm trying to find new customers for the same product. So I might try a different demographic group or a different geographic group. So with the Disney example, then look with the theme parks, they built a Disney park in Paris or Tokyo. So I'm taking a new geographic. So I'm trying to take that existing product and reach new customers with it. That's market development. Product development is where I'm going to actually modify, come up with a completely different product, but for my same basic customer base. That could be, for instance, when Disney, let's say they started with the movies, which I think they did, and then they offered the theme park. So it's probably the same group of people that watch the movies that would be attracted to the theme park, since they're related. And so that's a completely different type of product. If all I've done is make movies, opening a theme park or resort is a completely new product, but it's aimed at that same customer base. So that's product development. And then diversification, it's a whole new product and a whole new group of customers. So when Disney bought ESPN, for example, that would be diversification. It's a whole new type of thing, not really related to my original product at all. So those would all be different ways, marketing strategies to grow the company. All right, so developing a customer-driven marketing strategy. Again, you need to stay focused on the customer here. The first step is segmenting the market. I'm going to take the market, let's say the United States, and I'm going to divide all the people into different segments based on different characteristics. It could be demographic characteristics. like income, age, family lifestyle, any of those types of things. It could be geographic segmentation based on northeast, southeast, west, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to divide the market up into all these different groups. That's segmenting. Once I do that, then there's targeting. I'm going to pick which ones of those segments I'm going to go after and target. So I can't reach everybody, and I wouldn't be able to effectively reach everybody. But I split the market up in the segmentation, and then the targeting, I decide which of those segments I'm going to try to sell to. Once I do that, I've got my target market defined, then it's time to decide on the positioning. And this is me deciding what position I want to occupy in the minds of my consumers. Do I want them to see me as a fun, funky company? Do I want them to see me as a super high quality, high class company? So when they hear the name of my company, my product, what's the first thing they think of? That's the positioning. And then the last one is differentiation. Once I decide what position I want to offer, how am I going to set myself apart from my competitors? What's different about my product that I offer my customers compared to my competitors? And you have to do this first, because once I determine which group of people I'm going to target and how I'm going to do it, what's different about me, what position do I want to occupy, what's different about me than my consumers, all the other steps in the marketing process, they need to support this position and this differentiation that you've done. If the position I want is super high quality and the differentiation is I offer better service than anybody else, then those are things I need to keep in mind throughout my entire marketing process. So that's why you have to do this before you get to the rest of it. Once you do that, then you design your marketing mix. And we'll spend a chapter on each one of these types of things. But first, it's the product. So not just the physical product, but the features it has, the design, whether it's elegant or whether it's fun and colorful, the brand name you pick, how it's packaged, the services that come along with it, all that goes into the product. Then the price, again, needs to support the position. You wouldn't want to position it as super high class, super high quality, and then sell it for really cheap. Along with that, the place. If you're going to sell it as super high class, then you need to put it in places that would also have that. You maybe not going to sell it at Walmart. How I get it to my customer. Am I going to sell it through retail? Am I just going to deliver it direct to the customer myself? Those would all be place decisions. And then we finally get to promotion, how we're going to promote this product. But again, all of your messages here in your promotion need to support the position and the differentiation that you decided there when you were doing the strategy. There's a thing in your book too that's talking about instead of the 4 P's, this is kind of the standard thing in marketing, the 4 P's of marketing, it's the 4 C's. And instead of product, it should be what customer solution are you offering? And instead of price, it should be what's the cost to the customer? Instead of place, it's convenience to the customer. And instead of promotion, it's communication. And that, if you look at the 4 C's instead of the 4 P's, that forces you to stay focused on what you're delivering to the customer. What value are you providing to them? Then the last step here is managing the marketing effort. So once I've divided the strategy, this is what I want to accomplish, how am I going to get it done? So the first step is an analysis. A SWOT analysis is, again, you may have seen this in another class, but looking at your strengths and weaknesses, your opportunities and your threats in the market. This is an excellent, you can use this thing for a SWOT analysis for a lot of different things. You can do one for yourself as you're writing a resume, for example. So that is going to identify weaknesses that we need to address, identify strengths that we want to emphasize, and also look at some opportunities and help us decide where we're going to focus our resources. Then it's time for the planning stage. This is, again, you're coming up with a plan here. How much is it going to cost? All that kind of stuff. What kind of timeline are we talking about? What do I want to achieve? When do I want to achieve it? My goal here is to increase market share by 3% within the next year, and then here's the steps I'm going to use to get there. Then you have to actually implement the plan, and that's you're going to actually execute the, making the product and advertising it and all the stuff you came up with in the plan. Organization, how am I going to organize, how am I going to allocate my resources here to get this done? Who's responsible for what steps of the process? Who's accountable for what? And so this is just getting the resources to where they need to be. And then the last step is control. This is where you go back and you say, okay, in the planning stage, I said I wanted to achieve a 3% market share growth by this time. In the control, you go back and you say, did I do that? Did I achieve that? And this is because we talked in the last chapter about how we're increasingly accountable for what we're producing. And again, the goal of marketing isn't just to increase sales, it isn't just to get people talking about our product, it's to increase the bottom line of the company. And so I go back here and I look at how am I helping the company achieve those objectives and how am I fulfilling that mission statement to the company. But marketers are increasingly being asked to prove that the money we're spending on these marketing efforts is worth it. If I spent $6 million on a Super Bowl ad and everybody loved it and everybody's talking about it, but sales were unaffected, then the marketing ROI is not that good. I invested $6 million in this. What's my return? That's what ROI is, return on investment. And production managers have long been asked to provide this. If you want $1 million for a new piece of equipment, you better show me the cost savings. Whereas marketers were kind of on their own, but now they're being asked, okay, where's the increase in sales? Where's the increase in profit as a result of this money? So you're going to have to be able to bet. So that control becomes much more important. And the book talks about some different ways to do that and some technology. So that's a summary of Chapter 2, and let me know if you have any questions.